show you our project timeline visual here first to kind of give you some ideas of requirements and development that's going on right now. I added a topic. If we don't get to it, we don't get to it, but we have a requirements document that I introduced yesterday. It's a prerequisite intake deduplication. I actually wanted to go through that one more time, just to show you some of that so you can start thinking about that from a local perspective, if we get to that. I also want to get to the UAT that was done, it was completed last week. And I focused on the local, and that's what we're going to hit today. So Laura, Mark, all those, Kelly, all those that have participated in that UAD that got things in there, I'll get those cleared out today. I read all those. I just want to deeper dive into those and think about how we're going to handle those. But I want to hit the local ones today for the response for this session because I really appreciate them, the locals getting in and working on that. And let me go to the timeline first. Here we are in September. Obviously, everyone knows next week, early in the week, is the end of September. We have all of this set right here. We actually has end dates in October. You could see that, and I'm going to move in there a little closer so you can see those. So these are being in discovery, they'll continue in discovery. And they'll join all this work that's going to be in October also. Some of these obviously move into November, December, so they're not going to get completed either. But these will get completed early in October, most of them early. This right here is 5 documents that we have, requirement documents that are currently in review. Once those are approved by our subject matter experts, we will, at the state level, we will have the stories developed and get those. So we'll shove these down into this development in October. This is the current work that's going on. And there are different areas. We got this referral system that's being built, and it'll continue to see that stream across, obviously, through December and January, probably. We do have some referral UAT going on, so I should have that there. I moved this over. We're going to have a second cycle in October that will follow up with your issues and bugs that we found in UAT. And then there's a lot of customer profile work going on with the pre-screen. There's some cross-system capabilities like geocoding, user management, service collections, those kinds of things in the system. We're upgrading the training plan continuously as we get new items. This should say 41. We are in 41 right now, by the way. These need to be changed. So that's kind of where we're at. At a snapshot, this is our discovery lane. This is our development lane. This is our UAT lane. And from a big picture perspective, this is what this looks like. Obviously, these discovery items will come down in to this area. We want to be ideally completely done with any kind of new development by end of April or early May, so we can make sure we support final UAT, data migration, stuff like that. So that's where we are. It's kind of better to see it visually than a bunch of words on a page. So I just wanted to show you that before we get into our next pieces. And I thought I did not see, but maybe I just will put it up again. I thought I had our UAT up. So, okay. All right. So the first thing we're going to do is go right into ETPL, basically training plan, UAT review. Um, and we're going to look at some of these. I want to bring attention to some of these. I do want a little bit of discussion on some of these also because um, even though, I could tell you, well, this is the way it was designed to work, it may just be too obtrusive. Let me pull this off so we get more space. And let me get a chat over here on this other screen so I can try to follow along with that also. And put that up there. Okay. All right. Thanks for checking in on this page right here. I really appreciate it. And I'm going to try to focus on non-state right now. I'll have this completely done by the end of today and uh, probably have some follow-up with state next week. Hopefully not too much time, but to hit some of those suggestions and make sure we know where they fall in. So I'm going to scroll through this and look for 925 responses. And comment on those. They're kind of local. Okay, 17, let's discuss. We discussed that on 917. That's okay then. Add training plan. Let's get into here. We have a SIP code. We went over this quite in depth. We have a SIP code finder upgrade and an ONET code finder upgrade story. And I'll get to that in a second. I think it's 17 something. So I'll show you that in a second. But let me get right here. Okay, if the answer to the question is yes, can it be mandatory to upload a licensing body document? Okay, currently it shows you can move on. Okay, let me try to explain what we tried to accomplish here. And if we went the wrong way with this, I totally understand, but I'll give you my response and then I'll go show you too. The first time you go through, we try not to keep telling you all the pages that will prevent a submit. Okay, so the entire training program, all those pages and all those navigations that you see on the left and all those pages are a set. So that's the first thing to understand is you don't just go into one page and out and one page and out. So most of you figured that out, but they are a set and any problems on any page can prevent submission. Okay. Now, if we show you, we want it to be for you to be able to kind of navigate around on that when you're adding a program without getting constantly bombarded with, hey, you didn't fill this out, you didn't fill that out. And so you'll notice on that left side, as you go through it the first time, it really doesn't care too much. It doesn't provide those red X's and all that. It doesn't care too much as you go straight through it because we have no idea, the system has no idea of your intentions of how you're going to go through this. We allow you to jump around and we allow you to go straight through. We allow you to come out, come in, those kinds of things. So on that first pass through, which is a very difficult actually thing to understand from a system standpoint is, what is your first pass through? But we try to not make it so prominent that you would see all that red and you haven't completed this yet because we don't want you saying, yeah, I know I haven't completed yet. I haven't gotten through it yet. So, but in the process of doing that, I think a lot of you stumbled because you said, I can't believe it let me through there when I didn't finish that. It does. It lets you through, it lets you go on, it lets you jump around, but when you try to submit with problems on any page, it will not let you. It should not let you unless there's a bug. And it should say, hey, you got to fix these problems. And at that time, you probably will see all those page links light up and give you those problems. So let me kind of demonstrate that one more time because I don't think Marquise, you're the only one, or you're the only one that had this issue. But because I've seen it a couple different places, the expectations were a little bit different than we tried to. Okay, so let me get this a little bit bigger. I'm going to, I'm just going to go into, and I apologize if somebody, this is UAT. Yeah, this is UAT. Okay. If somebody was using Carl Sandburg, but I've been using it lately for some reason. But I'm not going to go to a pending right now because it won't operate the same. If I go back into a pending one, that will probably give me, it most likely will give me all the issues right off the bat. So I'm going to add a new training program. Okay. And once I say this is true, but once I get through the first page. So first of all, just to remind everybody, you have to get through the first page for you to be able to jump around because we can't save a program. So I'm testing notifications. Okay, I'm going to quickly get through this. I'm going to say it's neither for now. You'll notice that changed, but you still aren't supposed to jump around. Um, and then I'm going to hit one location. It doesn't really matter. Okay. So right now, I've put every mandatory element I can on this page. And if I go next, okay, it has saved the program.
Now, we do have a raised hand
Okay,
from Rory. I don't know if you want to.
yeah, let me stop.
Okay.
Rory, you want me to go through what I was going to go through before you ask that, or you want to ask it right now?
Yeah, sorry, I was going to try to lower it because I didn't want to interrupt your,
Okay, let me just hold on. Keep
what you're
your
doing.
hand up. Keep your hand up, Rory.
Okay.
Let me try to see if I can get this to do what you're thinking. Okay. So right now, as you know, okay, actually it tells you on this page, you know, without being too uh large in charge, it tells you, hey, you got to do this page. But you'll notice that we don't have red and red X's and all that over here. But you'll also know every one of these pages is not filled out, and every one of these pages has a problem, right? You couldn't submit if you went to here. It would have a problem. But also, we don't want to light up all these. I didn't want to light up all these pages in red, these links, when you're first starting, because I think it's just a little bit overwhelming and intrusive. Okay. So I'm going to leave a few problems. Okay. So I'm going to actually add a goofy outcome, whatever it is, and I'm just going to take it so I can get through it. So I got that outcome. Um, I'm going to do something else here because this is going to hit another one of those issues. I'm going to say, yes, I have a license. Yes, the program is approved. I'm not going to upload the document. I'm going to say, actually, I'm going to say no here. Does the training provider assist the student job place? I'll leave it at no. And you'll notice already it's telling me before I even hit the next that upload the licensing by approval document. But I can hit next, okay? It still does not show me red there. Not yet, okay? I could go through this page. I could go through a bunch of pages. I'm not going to go through a bunch of pages. I'm just going to get down here to this review and submit. And I'm going to hit submit. Now, you're going to say, why would you allow me to hit submit? And you'll also see when I went to the submit page, we lit it up, okay? I'm on the fence about allowing that submit button, but when you do hit that submit button, it gives you another message here that says, hey, you need to review your pages because we don't know your intentions if you really wanted to submit or not. But we just tell you if I hit this submit button right now, it'll say, please fix any errors and try again. Okay. Now all these pages that have problems on them show up in red. The only page you got complete successfully is green. So that is the concept here, to be not so invasive at first, okay, if that's the right word. But if your intentions are to submit that with problems, we're going to tell you then, hey, can't quite submit it with problems. Okay, Rory.
Yeah, so and I opened up. I just in case I've ever in the notebook, like if I paste something the wrong way, I always when I'm going through the UAT, I have a Word doc open so I can just throw my screenshots in there and
You
then
bet.
kind of pick and choose. Like, well, this was already answered in the notebook, so I'm sorry. I was trying to open the Word doc I have
Great.
now. So you know what? I might not have just trying to look where I saw that. So I might not have paid. I'm trying to see where I made that comment. I might not have looked
This was not you.
closely.
This was not you.
No, that's Rosa. Yeah, she's from LWS 7. I don't think she's on the call. She's with the Chicago Coke Partnership. But I kind of had the same thing. So what I was going to say is I may not have been looking closely enough, I guess, or didn't catch my eye. You said, when you went to hit submit, yes, that screen you're on now, maybe I didn't look to see that those had, indicators, the red X, or they were highlighted in red. But what I was going to say is and I get what you're saying too. And it's kind of tricky because on the one hand, if a provider just is like filling this out, or even an LWIA on behalf of a provider, if they submitted some kind of a paper application or something, it's like, oh, they left this out, or I'm not sure what this is, or what's the CAP or whatever. Currently, I mean, it's all one scrolling long screen in IWDS. And I think that's where I was kind of getting kind of tripped up, because it's easy to then go ahead and you can save without submitting and leave it as not submitted. And that way, it'll still allow you to save the program and not have to start over again with leaving certain things omitted. So I guess that's probably one of the tricky things just to get used to.
Now, when you're right,
pages, and
when we save, Rory, and you come back into one of these save programs. So if I come back in, that's an error bug, by the way. That should not have gone back there. I got that in my list of problems. It should have gone back to where you were, which is where you came from. We always got to come back to where you came from. If you see those situations, complain, yell at us and everything else, we should have came back to here. And specifically, we should be here. And we're here, okay? And when you get into edit mode on this program, well, I guess they got it doing the same thing. So it'll do the same thing until we get to review and submit, and then it'll come on. So when you hit review and submit, your intentions, we feel like, are review and submit, then we need to tell you, hey, because we don't know if you're done or not yet until you get to that point.
Yeah.
Now, trust me, we could do it the other way. We could throw every one of these in red X right to start with. It's a lot easier. And they did that to start with. And I drove them crazy on saying, we really probably should wait until they get their first pass through.
No. Yeah, I agree. I think what it was is maybe I just didn't notice the red X on the side. But what happened with me is that I tried to fill out everything. I mean, I thought I filled in every field, even the ones that were required or something. But what had happened with me was that then when I got to the end and hit submit, it said can't submit. You have corrections to make. Yep. Whereas currently in IWDS, you'll get a little yellow box at the top to say, please fix the following. Training type is required. Or if vocational, you need to enter ONA codes. It'll itemize, it'll list all the things. But I don't think when I did it, and I could be wrong, like I said, I might not have been paying close enough attention to the left. What my thing was that I'm well, where's it just said you have corrections to make. So I was going back to the pages and I couldn't see where.
Yeah.
I finally found it. I had to go through
here
to see well, where did I leave something out, or where did I fill something incorrectly? So that was what I was saying, is that when you do go to submit, if there are I see, we have the X's there. So maybe that's
okay. So let me tell you about this too. And maybe this, and this is, I'm open to talking about this. Maybe this needs to go on top. Okay. Because when you come back to here and you've got a small screen like I do on this laptop, you could come here right now and say, well, I don't understand.
Yeah. See, it looks to me like everything is filled in. Yeah.
Now, the reason I had them put this on here is because if we didn't have this, you wouldn't even know that this is the issue, right? And even now it's a little bit subtle. And I think maybe because a lot of the times there's this is a good example where there's not, and we should probably do something here, but a lot of the times what you'll see right here, there's just a faint red. Now that could be the problem. It could be a problem with people with color problem, eye problems, or it could be a problem of noticing it. And so I wanted to have more, information about what was wrong, right? And the problem is, and we need to think about this a little bit, is like you're seeing right now, right? And I'll show you what's interesting too. This happens to be an Apple machine, a MacBook Pro. And why do I say that matters? Because on a Mac, they don't show the scroll bar. They don't show it. Okay.
Oh, I see on the
Okay.
right.
You see there's no scroll bar, right? So you might
Yeah.
come in here and not realize what's my indication? This is a better one, actually. What's my indication that there's something below that? No, there's no indication, right? Because there's no scroll bar. So like on Windows machines, there's still a scroll bar there all the time. I don't think it comes off. Now, when I move it, sure, it comes out. The scroll bar comes out, but not until I touch it and move it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, because I can slide this up and down with two fingers. I don't have to go use the scroll bar, and I never use a scroll bar. But you might have a roller wheel, for example, on your mouse on a Windows machine, and you just don't do anything until you roll it, and then you find out, oh, there's my error. So I've been thinking about this since I've been watching everybody's response, that we may need to put these, when we do throw the errors up, we may need to put these somewhere at the top. That way you can kind of go, oh, okay, I can eliminate, especially in this situation here. And we may need to do something else here when that's the problem, because it's hard to find the problem in this page. Okay.
So yeah, so I agree with what you were saying. Like, that's just me. I mean, but I, I don't know what the consensus is, but yes, as far as like not having them all lit up red right from the get go, I agree with you on that. It's not until you go to the end and then it'll say, hey, these are the things that, um, these are the screens then that are incomplete when you go to save and submit. So yeah, to have those up right away, that would be kind of distracting and confusing. So I like that. And then yeah, maybe if that fix thing could be at the top, because that's what I was like, well, what didn't I do on this page? And like, which page do I need to fix? But I you know what, I guess I might not have looked closely enough at that bar on the left to see that the menu of all the screens, that they had little red X's next to them. I just went back through every screen and then, but yeah, maybe putting that, if possible, that arrow screen at the top. Cause yeah. And like, as Crystal said, usually in IWDS, that's where it comes up. It's like a lightish yellow box and it says, please fix the following. And then it'll list, the things that are incomplete or that need to be fixed on the page. So yeah, that's where I was.
Who is this? You said Rose?
Rosa.
Rosa? Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to put Rosa. Well, maybe I am.
But I had
So let me do it.
in
But anyway, I was going to
I had a similar
I
thing.
want everybody to see this one too. She had some good comments here. She or he. This right here, this one it does. I don't know what was subtle about. So this is another thing indicating errors. So on the cost amount, the other expenses box, it is mandatory if you put something in it. However, if you don't put anything in it, right? Then the whole problem is you need to put a zero, at least a zero in there. It does say that in a note, and I'm going to kind of demonstrate that. So let's go to costs. I don't think I did anything on this page. You will see when we come back, these, please specify tuition costs or enter zero if not applicable. And I don't think I have that up here, but I need to have that up here. Please enter zero if not applicable, because we're stumbling over that. But if I enter um, uh, into this field here, if I actually enter something into this field other than zero, then it'll force me to put something in that field. And I think the problem was a couple problems compounded. There was nothing entered in this, not even zero. So this didn't force her to do this. So, but this down here still says, please provide a description of other expenses. And this will still be a problem. You still have a problem. What is it? Right here, can very subtly see that red on here, but it will tell you, please provide a description for other expenses. If this was 0, that would not happen. And that would be okay. Okay.
Is
So
it possible to make the color a little bit more of a prominent contrast?
I think we can, I think it's possible but it's across the board. It's a, it's possible that we may need to make that a
Like
little
if you do it for one, you'd have
line bolder, but or do here what it says there. Like see how this says specify another cost or 0, right? When you don't do that. So if I put in a cost here, well, it does say, please provide a description of their expenses in red. So, I don't know what would, but I think the problem was this. And I guess I don't know but I think we've got that covered. Okay.
yeah. And I will
Um,
admit that threw me as well because again, just it's one of those areas, one of those times where having a lot of years of experience with the current IWDS could be bad because you get into these habits. So in the current IWDS, you can leave something that one blank, and then so I didn't read carefully enough. Like, oh, I have to at least put a 0, and if it's not, I'm like,
bet.
why is it not taking this?
You bet. Yes, I like I don't know who is that. Did you respond, Roy? Yeah. I like the idea of at the top. What I don't like about the old system here is it jams it all together. And I'm like, I don't like that. And then there's a back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, because this happens on a different page, right? So I got to look and understand. So I'm trying to get it better. I got to look and understand what the problem is, go back. I tell you right now, filling out a training program and the current IWDS for me was extremely difficult because I'm not real smart about it at the time I started this. And I went back and forth and back and forth and back and forth from this page back to the training place. So, but if we have this on the top, like we have it on the bottom, just move it to the top, I think, and we have one line per error message, so you can really pick them out better. I think we're going to be a lot better shape. Okay.
Oh, absolutely. Yes. I like how yours definitely how it itemizes it. So it's not like just in one continuous
You
like
bet. But I know what you're talking about, Roy. I think we need
yeah.
to probably move that to the top. Okay. Color difference is strike as well. Okay. All right. Back to this page over here. I told Jessica, I told you I would look into this deeper. I did. I looked at all the SIP stuff, all the ONEC stuff. We actually exhausted the discussion on that last week. But I added an enhancement 17073 that should help in that zip code browse, zip code search, all that kind of stuff. And I think we'll be, and there's another enhancement too that's coming on that zip code page on the ad, a single button is going to also be one of those things that we're going to fix. Okay. Oh, hold on, Parlo's here, except here. We have a bug card to fix this issue. This was really, is this this wording?
Oh, I was just agreeing with Paul's comment that was right
Yeah, and
about
I opened a bug card on this. Or there was a bug. I just got to find out which bug card it is. So, I didn't answer any of these yet, Laura. If you're on, and Paula, if you're on, I'm digging into these. This one here is one I was talking about a while ago. There was no 0. So this is not showing you have to put something other. This is showing, like I said, you have to put a 0 in there. But I think we need a message actually at the top of the page that makes sure that it explains, please put 0 if it doesn't apply for that cost. And put that over in my notes here. Okay. All right, Rory, you did find bug. I don't know how this crept into the system, but was able to do the same thing today. And I opened a bug for this. I'll have to get the bug number in there, but I opened a bug number because I got the same, it locked me up. I think it locked you up too. It's like when I finished that wrap screen, not only did I not have, actually, let's just do it real quick. Let's go back to program of study. Let's put in registered apprenticeship. Let's go here and let's make sure we have every field, because I first tried it without putting all the fields in. Of course, this field is one, and then we need one location. Whoops, location name. Be such a location, but that's okay. This gives me a chance to tell you some other things about this. So this address verification stuff, that was in another one. I'll tell you what we're doing here. Okay, what it's going to do here is it's going to tell you that we didn't find any location that was close enough to this location when we do our address verification. It's going to tell you that here. You can continue anyway, or you could say, no, I must have double hit something. There's not even one of that. Well, that didn't, oh, I didn't hit the location address. That's what I get for doing that. Okay, so that's what no, that's a good example. I just showed you a good example of fat finger in a 4, okay? And it couldn't find it. And you say, wait a minute, you say to yourself, it should find that address. That's a postal address, but it should say, hey, we couldn't find that address. And so you look up at it and you say, oh yeah, I did enter the wrong address. You come back, you enter the right address, what you think it is, then you save it, and it says, yep, we found it. You can either hit yours or there, it doesn't really matter. But this is more specific because this is South Douglas Avenue instead of Douglas Street. You might have said, oh, yeah, it is South Douglas Avenue. So that's what that's about. Anyway, I wanted to bring that up. That wasn't the question we're having here. The question we're having here is if I, no, it's not going to do it. It's not going to do it here because I've already been through this whole program. But this was disabled. This was disabled. I couldn't click anywhere here, and I don't know if that's what you got, Roy. But I was kind of like I couldn't do anything except hit the back button and got back to where I was. I think it's on a new program if we did a new program, but I got a bug for that. Just wanted to tell you, you're not not understanding. You understood it. So this is Laura's stuff in here. I'm going to get back to that. Okay. Oh, this is where it was. I'm sorry. 17072 is the bug. What was this up here then? Oh, I see. No, I think, yeah. Okay. I will look into that. I have to add that capability anyway, for clicking off or leaving before you save. So let me keep that in my notes. Mark brought that up yesterday, I think, or the day before. I haven't looked at this, Laura. We had quite a bit on the outcomes. I didn't, I'm going to respond to Paula's stuff. This is in expenses. I moved that evidently. But down here, there is one that I wanted to discuss. Not seeing it now. I will get back to this though. thought there was one in here from someone in the local group. I've kind of discussed this. There's an enhancement 17074 to do the dollar signs. There is, when you tab out, the procedure should be in the info box. I'm kind of, let me go back to, let me go back here. Let me hit this off. Let me go here. This is where, okay, so somebody said, well, what does this mean? What are the procedures? This talks about the procedures, so maybe this needs to be between there or something.
Well, what I was saying is that first part, the cost listed here should be above. So,
Yes, this should be above, you bet. I agree.
yeah, okay. I
And
think
but
that's
this
what I
one,
talked
yeah, you're
about.
right there. I saw that. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
This
okay.
one here
Mm-hmm.
is above this, but maybe
Yeah,
if this
yeah.
was
No,
out of
that's
there,
fine.
you know,
No,
if this was out of here, maybe this would be more prominent to be just
exactly.
this, right? Okay, I got you. Perfect. All right. All right, Rory, let's talk about this. Okay, you said, could there be a box to include here for the provider to list or itemize tests, certification, or license exams when applicable for when more than one test is included in a program? What would that give it? What would that help? How would that help?
And that's more of like a
Plus.
a want versus a need, I guess. Just so it just just if there's more than one certification exam, somebody going to like computer training, if it's going to be like a CompTIA A plus,
I think here's where you would look.
So yeah, maybe, and they can put it, as long as there's some place they can.
Yeah, I think I would put it here because not only would I describe, that's describing, the cost or procedures for, hey, by the way, there's 4 tests. That's what I would try to train my providers to do or whatever, try to tell them, hey, just put those in there so we know what they are. Another box there might not do it.
Yeah, because I get over the years, I mean, from my internal career planners here or in neighboring LWIAs, if it's a school that we own, like microtrain, they're like, hey, this doesn't match the training plan letter or the training request or the Terraform or LOA letter of intent, whatever different LWIAs call it, have different names for it. It's like, okay, why is it saying there's, $300 for exam, $325 for exams, but it says it's $500. Like either it's too little or it's too much or it's more than what's in IWDS. So I'm like, well, all right, let's get them to itemize it, so that's all. But as long as there's a place in there where we can direct the provider to say, hey, please, itemize all possible tests that the person could potentially be taking towards certifications or something, then that's fine too. I just didn't know if it would, and I guess maybe it would bump things down to put a box there, and maybe that would mess up the configuration of the screen. But as long as there's some place where we can designate to tell them.
Sounds good. You had something on, oh, it's here, Roy. Okay. There's a couple of things on here. So I didn't quite understand this because that's exactly what these sections are for. If you check one of these boxes, you have to put something in here. And what they should put in here is actually the prerequisites. So what I see people putting in there are like a grade level of reading or language or math or whatever. Or you definitely could put course prerequisites if they need to be in there. So I was a little confused about what you were confused about, and I probably didn't understand. So you say, I know this has been discussed before earlier, working group calls is hard to find consensus on, but for question, are there entry level requirements for the program of study? Okay, this is what we got to report on our reporting.
Hey, Al, I would just wanted to step in here because this might help. I'm working on those informational bubbles, and that was what I had put in for these was indicate whether it's a course prerequisite or a grade level or a required grade level that needs to be met before moving forward for a course. So hopefully we'll get that covered when we get those info bubbles going.
Okay, good.
Oh,
Yeah.
thanks. Yeah, that's where it was more like, because it says math specify, reading specify, but on those where those check boxes are, that's under a category that says, are there courses or course prerequisites? So not necessarily what math 101, math 102, which I understand. I mean, often that is the case if someone's going into a program like an allied health, like a nursing program, someone says, hey, must have, math 252 or higher, or must have had English 101, 102, and composition or whatever. So that makes sense to have those for courses, but I didn't know where that would kind of fit in if somebody, because we often they'll say like 8th grade reading level or higher, or
Right.
some will say must be able to understand machine operating instructions in English or something like that.
Right.
So I just wasn't sure like where square peg in a round hole kind of thing. Like, well, where would we put those now on this screen? Like I just didn't know if that would be like I said, kind of like where that would fit.
Yeah.
I think is what I was getting at.
I see this a lot.
Like,
I see this a lot, which I didn't even think about what it was. And I saw this, I'm like, huh, that is what, sophomore in college? I don't know what, I guess, I don't know.
yeah.
That's a lot. That's pretty big. But it could be, like,
It could be like math 101
200,
with a C or
yeah,
higher,
yeah, exactly. So,
So,
so that would
yeah.
make more sense probably because,
Because you're talking about like coursework, like
yep, it
math
could be
courses,
course,
reading
it could be
courses.
their coursework from their syllabus prerequisite stuff, or it could be, it could be as simple as, complex algebra. I don't
Okay,
know.
yeah, I
So
just
are
wasn't
you,
sure if
Roy, are
that.
you suggesting maybe to change the question to, are there course or other prerequisites? And then we'll cover the others under other. So if it does have, some of the things that you were talking about that's outside of those math, reading, language, writing that could go in the other.
Yeah, or I mean, I guess it would make the page probably longer, but the screen longer, or two sections, one specifically for like coursework, and then maybe one that's under the other like specific levels, or because we talked about like entry level requirements versus the term prerequisites, and prerequisites usually means like course
That I
that
think that we would have them
into
put that below, are there physical exams or other requirements? Because for reporting, we need to report specific courses.
Right. Yeah. So
Or,
I didn't know if we could put like, but then I don't know if that would confuse people to see math and reading and language writing twice, like to see it in that category and then under
No,
the.
I would keep it under courses, and then if you have something else, go under to the next one. Are there physical exams or other requirements?
yeah,
That's what I would put in the
exactly. And
other.
I'm gonna talk about that a little bit too, because somebody didn't understand that a little bit. But I want to ask you something more. I'm not so sure we need this toggle.
Well, I think you need the toggle because I guess that's background for you on how you're going to do the reporting is because the reporting is the top education levels or courses or a combination thereof. So if you can count, if you can check and say, okay, math button is selected and bachelor selected, so it's a combination and report it that way, that's fine. Whether you need the toggle or not, you can make that determination. If you're able
Yeah.
to report properly without it, then
Yeah, I think we'll be okay because all that it's kind of doing is just saying, hey, if they think there are and they don't hit any of these, we're going to give them an error. Um, but if it's because I had some confusion on this. So, if we just are there course prerequisites, check all that apply. If they don't check any, then we're going to be able to report
mhm.
there aren't.
For,
If they check any,
for your sorry, for your reporting, Laura, could you, if we did reword that, um are there prerequisite courses or I don't know, like skill levels or levels required? And then
Well,
if instead of putting a course for math, if somebody wanted to say must or reading 8th grade reading level or above, does that screw up your reporting? Is if that's something that's
No.
captured, like, does it have to be a course number or?
It doesn't have to be a course number,
Oh,
but
okay.
it
Then yeah, then I
may,
guess we could just.
it
Yeah.
may, I mean, we're just saying, yeah, it's just course, required courses is what the reporting is asking for. So if
Oh,
we
okay.
want to
Because I don't want to
keep
mess up
this,
the reporting.
yeah, if we want to keep this as courses, and then we just instruct the providers if there are any other type of requirements that they put them down in that third section.
Yeah.
Because we have a space for other.
Because okay, yeah, as long as
Yeah,
there's a way that they can, because we more often than not, we do have a lot of community college programs, but we also have a lot of like non-community college training providers. So more often than not, for us anyway, I know
Levels.
it's different for every LWIA, but yeah, it's more like the levels. And again, not to harp on it, but but like in the current IWDS, that's it. They're all kind of in one category where I think where it says what are the entry level requirements of the program. So it has like degree, high school diploma, physical exam, and then it says math specify, reading specify, where you could put either or, like a grade level, or they could say must have biology 101 or anatomy and physiology 100 or something under other if it's like a healthcare program. So
yeah, perhaps we put, are there physical exams, skill levels, or other requirements, and then we add a skill level in here in a description box.
That would be
That
good.
way we wouldn't be getting them mixed up for reporting purposes.
Yeah, that might work. But there's a couple hands up. Sorry.
Yes. Robert.
My question is, can you scroll up a little bit so I can see the toggle again? Okay, right there. So y'all talking about reporting, but this is the entity put it in. I thought this thing here was if you wanted to take that course, you had to meet this level of reading or language to be considered for this training program. Is that not the case?
No, that's what Rory's trying to get to is where would you put that in there? According to the reporting, it's just looking for coursework. It's not looking for skill levels. So if we need to put skill levels, then we probably need to add that to the third section on there. So we're not looking for Bio 101 or English 101 with a C or higher. We're looking for, mental capacity to do XYZ, that kind of stuff. That would be under the skill level requirements, not a course requirement.
Yep. That would make it clear. But today, and you probably know very well this, Laura, they're putting in like I said, LBL 13 or 12 or 10 or
yeah.
8.
And it's willy-nilly on what people put there because each local area wants to see different things, and so they're going to be putting different things in there. So maybe if we define it better, then we'll get what we really are after.
I like that. Yeah. Paul, is that Paul? Yeah, I think it is.
Yes. So I guess this was kind of confusing for me. Because when I see the word course prerequisites, that means that in an associate degree, you have 65 credits in order to get it, right? And that consists of, 20 courses. So a prerequisite to a course would be like Business 101 that needs to be taken in order to take Business 102. Right?
Yeah, the difference
part of the regular degree curriculum or a certificate curriculum, which is different than when we're looking at putting in a training program and approving a training program as a whole, which is the associate degree or a certificate program. The prerequisites to a training program is completely different. So that would be, for example, an associate degree in nursing. A lot of colleges have prerequisite coursework that needs to be done in order to apply to the nursing program.
Right. That's what would be in section number 2 there.
correct.
Oh yeah, like accepted into the program versus the prerequisites to actually obtain the degree.
Yes, that's what it's meaning.
I assume the accept.
Don't forget, this is not one course. That's a good part, thing, Paul.
Yeah.
This is the program. So
But this
in some
Mark,
cases, it would be a course, maybe if it's like, driver, CDL or something. But I'm just saying, from an associate's or bachelor's degree, this is the whole program, right?
Correct.
Right. So like
but
here,
Or even a
I-
certificate.
what would you put for courses if you have to take CNA, if you have to take, like there's 20, like in up in our area for the community college, it's about 1.75 years now to do all the prerequisite courses in order to apply to the
Mhm.
nursing program itself,
So
right?
so you would put those in other and put CNA,
What
etc.
do you have to have, is that,
So they would have to list like 20 courses then.
well,
So they would have to, I mean, like they would have to literally go through, I mean, like, and
All
just
we
put in
care
other-
about is, all we care about is yes or no.
Okay.
Are there, not how many or anything else. So all we care about is the yes or no. So for reporting purposes, so they can put other, and they can put something as little, as small as like, all courses needed to get CNA or
yeah,
whatever.
you could say required courses for CNA program.
Yeah.
So,
Well, so that would be like, English, math requirements, CNA. There would be,
Mhm.
I mean,
Then
there's
you,
like, there's literally like, anywhere between 13 to
sure.
15 courses. So they would have to list all those courses in this other.
no, they would list them in math.
I wonder
Or-
if we
yeah.
just say like, please enter any prerequisites and not specify at a course level. The CNA program is the prerequisite.
Yes,
And you
we
don't need
want
to
to
tell
keep
us
it
every
simple.
single course.
But how would we
Yeah,
report on
that's too many
course?
courses to put in there on that list that you got to list down everything. If they coming in for a training, what that training requires is what we need. I don't think we
Right.
need to blow
What
it
is,
all up.
Laura, what was your concern though? What is
My
the course?
concern is the reporting. The reporting has a couple, or it's none, because it's education, and so we'll get the education levels based on the first section, entry level requirements, and then it's courses, and that's all it says is courses. And then there's a combination. So that's where you would say if there's anything in one plus there's anything in two, then that's how you answer.
And
That's
that's, is that a
then-
common delimited set of courses field?
it's strictly you're picking a number. So it doesn't matter
Oh.
how many courses, it just matters that there's courses.
Oh,
And I wasn't saying change anything other than where that text is right above the toggle, just take out the word courses and still leave everything so you can do all of it.
yeah, you could do every bit if you just said, are there any prerequisites, I guess.
Yeah. And if the locals are saying, well, that's confusing because we're going to give you all like list 20 courses instead of just CNA, maybe it's just that one word that's causing confusion. And if that won't mess with reporting,
But it sounds like the reporting, the pro is looking for course numbers. So
No. All we need,
It's not looking for course numbers. It's just looking, are there course requirements?
So
Yes,
then-
no. It's a
or
simple
course
yes,
titles,
no.
I guess I should say maybe.
No, they're
So-
not even looking for titles. It's simple yes, no.
so we would still have the question and have all these listed. And if something was in here, it would be yes. If nothing was in here, there's no prerequisites, whether it's 2 courses or 20 courses,
right.
then it would be no.
Right.
Is
But
my
I mean, in
microphone
the, if
working?
you say
Put it
yes,
on my P drive.
and if you check math in that box, there, sorry, I might have misunderstood that. I'm sorry about that. If you check math, I thought that was where the reporting then would expect there to be at least a course title or course number in those
No.
boxes.
But why do we need math, reading, language if all we need to say is there are courses?
Right.
It's just the way it was before, and then they separated it out that way because they thought, maybe that would be easier for them to be able to specify. We can change it however we want to. My only concern is strictly reporting. Unfortunately, I can't get to my P drive, so I'm going to try to. see
No,
if
you're
I
right.
can
The only
find
thing they're
the
asking
LTP.
is high school diploma, associates, bachelor's, courses,
Right.
or nothing.
Exactly.
But you could just add
Or a combo.
or a combination, which we don't need to put that there because
Right,
they're
no,
going to
we don't.
check all that apply, and then it's going to say
Exactly.
it
And
would
then we'll
feed.
figure it out on the
So
back end.
so
Yeah.
you could get away with getting rid of that section if we don't care about listing specific courses,
I
and
think,
just add courses in the list above.
oh, because so like where you're at right now, this is course prerequisites under math.
So you're saying,
I thought we were just saying like we wouldn't put like must, you know, 8th grade level or above because there's supposed to be a course or course number if you do check
why
that.
don't, why don't you just leave the toggle and then take all the other stuff out?
That's what I'm thinking.
Math through other.
Why don't you
Yeah.
just add courses to the list above and have only one set of questions or toggles?
Let me see. What are you talking about?
You have start at the top, bachelor's degree, associate's degree, high school degree, individual courses, or courses, or however you want to word that, or none. That's all we need to report on.
Oh, I see what you're
That would
saying.
work as well.
Yeah.
I
Alright.
think though, before we like take all of the math, reading, language, writing, and other out, is there any local need that like,
For this.
so like the so what of this? Do you guys
mean, we
use
like to have
this
it
to do your jobs?
the way that it's currently in IWDS, like I said, where you can put either a course number and or the grade level, is so that, you know, I think for just, yeah, I mean, for so people don't get referred or select a program that maybe they're not at a level to take. So just, you know, is it from an assessment tool, just to make
suitable.
sure,
Well, then
like when they TABE, or otherwise, if it does say, if the program says, yeah, they, you know, this is some technical machinery, you know, they do need to have 8th grade reading or above, or maybe it's higher than 8th grade reading. So I'm not opposed to having those categories, those line items in there. In fact, like I said, from a, like, is the training suitable? Or are they appropriate for that training? That from that standpoint, we that's how kind of we use it on programs that we're in, even before that have been in for, you know, for
then
before I
what
started doing
about
that.
what about the other field being one of those where, I mean, I hate, like people have said, 13 to 20 courses maybe, but if who's making the distinction that we need math, reading, language, writing, and don't need all the other ones broken out? I mean,
Well, we look
that
more at
becomes my,
math, reading, language, writing levels. As far as coursework, if the provider, you know, puts a coursework, or they might just say, refer to the catalog for requirements for the radiology, X-ray technician, associates program. You know, then at least we have a reference
How about
point.
how about we do it this way? We change the first question and add courses like Mark had suggested. And then we change the second question to say skill level requirements. And then leave the math, reading, language, writing, or other. And then you could get what you're looking for.
Looks
well,
good.
for the other, where I was saying is you make other an expandable, intimate sense of I could check other multiple times if there are multiple courses, because you can't put multiple courses and levels in one field.
No, you, like you said, their
So you
courses
click
would be
other,
above.
add another, add another, add another if you want to.
Oh, not have any specific?
No. What I'm
Or
saying,
just
go
keep
ahead and
going with
leave.
that other?
Yeah. Your other would just be, you can add another, you know
I-
what I'm saying?
I
You can
think
keep adding
that's-
as much as you want to put there.
But I
Not
think
in the
that's
same field, you would have multiple lines.
But I think that's getting where they didn't want to do is have the whole laundry list of those in there.
Well, don't make them mandatory unless they need them.
But what they need is the skill levels. So why don't we
Okay.
just select the
If they
skill
need skill level for 13 or 20 classes, then we need to have them all there.
No,
And
I think it's
you
skill
can't
level to
combine a
get in.
bunch of them.
No,
It's
just the skill level
it's
to
skill
get
level to
into
get into the
the
program.
Yeah.
Understood.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is if there are other classes, not the top 4, math, reading, language, writing, that a skill level is needed, they each have to have their own line so you can put the skill level in.
Well, I don't know that they would, I
At
mean,
this point, Mark, I
what
think
kind of
that
others would you ever have, guys? I mean, are you just, what would fall into that category that?
I think at this point, because, you know, I don't want to get too much more time put into this. I think I like your suggestion there. And then down here, I think we won't need this. And then down here, I could leave this here and just make this other a little bit bigger. And somebody can use it, or they can just say, refer to the catalog or the syllabus or whatever you're referring to. And that would be the smallest amount of changes to this page that wouldn't take a lot of time. And I think and maybe you change this line and it would make it much more understandable. That's my suggestion to get us to the MVP.
Thanks for putting that in the
That's
chat,
sound good.
Mark. That's what it is.
Yeah, I
couldn't
just
get to
put
it.
the requirements. You could shorten those up. I didn't know I didn't see that before if you put it in there.
Oh, I see.
You could shorten those up, obviously, if you want, like in the right-hand column of the ETP document, they just say course or with a parenthesis S rather than saying
Mhm.
particular course prerequisites. You could just put courses, course or courses, maybe I'm not making sense with here's the shortened
Oh, no,
version.
I see what you're saying.
Here's the short version.
That's what we need. We need that, and then we can still provide this for people that
Yeah.
want information for the program.
And you could make it mandatory by the fact that they checked courses above, or you can
Mhm.
make it non-mandatory,
Okay.
and they just enter it if it matters.
I'll work this up and then get it to you guys next week on Tuesday or Wednesday meeting, and we can just give it a thumbs up or whatever.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you for
I got another one
finding
here
that
though. I got another one on this page that I do want to talk about, and two of them really. Somebody suggested separating drug or alcohol screening, because I think that's
Oh,
probably.
that was Tara, and she said that it really didn't matter. It's
Oh,
up-
okay. The second one was this, and I think Roy, you were like, what is this or something? You circled this. My thought would be, as how I answered that was, maybe I didn't, yeah. That could be something like CPR certification or a driver's license. I don't know what that would be. But you might put,
No, and then again, that's kind of where I was wondering what would go in there if it was, but after what we just talked about, like sometimes, yeah, sometimes in the skill level for other, they'll put, for like certain truck driving programs, if it's like a fast track one that's like, must have operated a manual transmission vehicle before or something.
yeah. That would go there. I mean, I guess that's
Yeah, that one I think I kind of had the answer. Sorry.
okay. You got that? Okay. All right. This one here, Laura, I'm not responding to yours yet. Let me, and Sarah, I have not. This is going to get these improvements. I got an improvement one, which is the same one as the CNET improvement, which is you're going to be able to type in a code. I think we went through this big time last time, but you are going to be able to type in a code into that search, and it'll give you all those that contain, any part of that code you type in. So I think it's going to be a huge help. Okay, I want to discuss this. Are the numbers
Yeah,
supposed to?
those numbers aren't supposed to be there. The 1, 2, 6, 12, they don't need
My
to be
fault.
there. I put
Okay,
that in my comments too. So for
Okay, let's go to
program
that.
performance.
Let's go.
Yeah, we're having a whole side conversation on the whole program performance screen. So we'll get to, yeah.
Yeah, we're going to do some, I wanted to get back to this too. Yeah, I did note this. Somebody said, I got this in a bug. Thanks for finding that. I don't know why that slipped through. There were a whole bunch here and I stripped them out and that left those. So, but we still have to work on this and pretty soon. So, this one, I think. Oh, this came back. Mark gave us an answer on this. They don't exactly care, I guess, legal, but this is Laura, you and Mark are working on this for me, and I am going to read that and work on that. I didn't get too much. Okay, Laura, you got some good stuff in here. Okay, I did have this one. Oh, can't get to notes until we at least save the first page. I'll get to yours, Laura.
Mhm.
Okay. That one we have as a bug. Which was that? Not sure what that. I think I fixed that. I get that fixed. And then Laura's, I'll get back to yours. I did get here on yours. Okay. Yes. Okay. So what the issue here is why you could edit it during the review processes because we haven't got the login mandatory yet.
Okay.
And when we get the login mandatory yet, we'll be able to show where a test user with a provider role will not be able to edit that.
Okay.
Now, I just wanted to say this, though. I had in our workflow for this review process that we were going to allow edits from the ETPL coordinators while they were in the review, because we thought, is it, if it's a small problem or whatever that they'd want to. So that's the way that particular role is going to be able to work. We'll have to decide. We'll have to just think about that because I don't know what that means, if that's a problem or not a problem. Okay, obviously, remember we log every update to this so we can see that it's edited, but I just wanted to tell you that yes, when we log in, provider role will not be able to change anything while it's in review process. We're close to that, by the way, and right now it's wide open because we don't have that capability, but coordinators, we were planning on allowing them to edit. Okay, Roria, this one here. This is the one I spent a lot of time discussing to start with. And I think you and I have ironed that out in this discussion today. That's the one where you said, hey.
Yeah, that's the one we did at the beginning. Sorry.
All
Yep.
right.
Thank you.
All right. So I'll get back. I'm going to be able to finish this. I got some time today. I'll be able to finish this response to all of our state folks and put this actually in more of a streamlined document for us to look at. So I have a few minutes and I'm going to ask first because I didn't go look back at my agenda. And Rory, you've been on each time, so I'm going to put you on the spot. Have I introduced the pre-record intake deduplication process? Do you remember me talking about that? I don't know, Kelly, if you know. If I've talked about that in local.
I've missed a few in the last couple months.
Okay. Anybody
Yeah,
else? I'm
I don't
gonna hit
remember.
this.
I
I don't remember that.
Okay,
But
good, Robert. I know you were in there too, Robert. I'm gonna go through this document, just a few things in it real quick because we only have about 15 minutes. And I'm going to show you that because it definitely is going to have an impact at the local level. Okay. So,
I mean, I remember the name, like ways when you're trying to search customers, add a new customer, like all the
yeah,
you
you
know,
remember
all the
that?
methods
Well,
in
this
place
is,
to
okay.
eliminate
So,
names, but yeah, I don't know, but this might be
okay. So this, so everybody knows, you've heard from Olivia several times, others, there is going to be the ability for what we call a self-service. Kind of the customer can enter data, answer questions through our system. Okay. And this could be a few questions, just kind of identification questions, what you want and that, and they could kind of bail out and go to a career planner or go to someone at an office or request a meeting or whatever, or it could be a lot. It could be a lot of information. We're calling this right now before a pre-record because it needs to really go through a deduplication process. We don't want a lot of customers that are in here that there's already a customer record in here. Okay. We want to make sure that we get that data merged to the right customer. And this process will allow us to at least try to do that. Okay. This is out in review right now with our state folks, but I want to show you this workflow a little bit. Just so you understand what I'm talking about. And then I'll spend about 5 minutes on this. And then I'll show you the 3 screens, or I think 3 or 4 screens that are designed to help assist you in this process. Okay. Somebody had a question right off the bat? Okay. All right. So when you go, and you'll see these pretty soon in demonstrations of these in October, we're hitting this. When you go to the website, when you go looking for help, either find a job, do I need training, do I need a better career, those kinds of things, there's these web pages that are content that are getting all redesigned. And one of the things is basically just for now to say, start here, or what I need help. Yeah. And the first thing that happens in those pages is we ask for their name, first name, last name, date of birth, a valid email address, okay, a zip code, and an optional phone number. Okay. So what we're doing with that is we're routing them through that email to validate that they have that email. We're doing that with the token process and giving them a link to get into some self-service intake process questions. Okay. I think you've seen some of those from Olivia. If not, well, you'll see them soon. But it goes through like, how can we help you? Those looking for a job. What's now? Are you looking for a job now or to better your career? There's just a bunch of questions in there. But at the minimum, they've had to identify themselves with these fields before and got back into that validated email address before they could continue. Okay. Now, they could bail. So they're in that process of using the system. They could use it for a while, like for a few minutes, and say, oh, there's a lot of questions here. I'm going to come back when I have a little bit more time. Okay. And they come back into it. And when they do that, they go back through that same link and go back to where they left off, and they continue answering some of these questions. And they could go for quite some time, all the way through application. But anywhere in that, they could say, I don't want to continue. I want to help, or I want to talk to somebody. I don't want to do this myself. Okay. And if they do that, then they're going to get potentially somewhere in your local, you're going to get a career planner assisted interview, is what I put that as, labeled that as. Now, before I get any farther on that, the minute we get this information, we create this pre-record. We call it a pre-record because it's not an official customer profile record or anything like that, because we haven't gone through any kind of, no one's taken a look at that and gone through a deduplication process. Okay. Now, so we don't want to just jam that into our system and find out later that we've collected all this data on one customer record and there's actually a customer record in there. We want that merged. So from that point on, those will appear on a list, and I'll show you that list. And someone, hopefully it could be at the state level, it could be at the local level, can work that list off. In other words, they look at that list, they open that pre-record with the information that was collected. They search for that customer through that deduplication, that duplicate customer search. If they find a customer that they really truly believe is that customer, then they can go through a merge process and come out with an official customer record and profile. If they, like, in other words, we could merge that into the profile that we already have. Or if they find out through their hopefully exhaustive searching capability, it's not there, then they could say, nope, it's a new customer, and it will create that customer record. And that record will have all these attributes that were collected for that identification process. Or it could have more than that, depending on how long it takes for somebody to get in there and, in other words, look and dedupe that customer record. This should help in us keeping some of these potential duplicates out of there when we're talking about a self-service program. This could be 2 pre-records, or it could be a record in there that's more permanent from a time back, or they could go through this discussion for a while and they could go back to that record. When they do that, we should have that linked up. Now, if the career planner, we don't know the timing exactly, but if the career planner gets to this situation and they find that they only have a pre-record for this, then they should really quickly do this, and we don't know the timing exactly, but do this duplicate process to make sure it is a unique new record, either add it or merge the data and continue with that interview. This could be done hopefully prior to a meeting or a phone call with that potential customer. Remember, these are potential customers. They're really not customers yet, they're pre-records. So that's what this particular document explains And there's a few screens here. This down here shows that flow. But so we have this customer management, and I'm going to just pop in there real quick, just so you know. We have this customer being able to search for customers and all that. With the proper role, we don't, if somebody has the role to look at the dedupe list and all that and work that list off, then we're going to have a third tab that's this pre-record intake. And when they hit that pre-record intake, we probably will make sure you understand that you're in that, and we'll probably change this filter here to be just for the data that we have on a pre-record, because we don't have a bunch of data for pre-records. We just have these fields, okay? You'll be able to search these fields. You also will be able to search between they were created on or after or on or before, so between two dates. If you kind of know that, like if the person says, you know what, I started filling this out last Tuesday. Oh, you did? Okay. And then you could pump that in and filter it, and you could see which ones last Tuesday were created. May or may not remember the correct one, but that might help also. Hopefully, with a big hopefully, this list will not be too huge, because we're constantly working them off and constantly working with these potential customers to become customers. Okay, so that's this. Now, when you select one of these, you get to a very this point, which is, like Roy said, this is this duplicate search, But the difference here is when you then from the add customer is we're pulling in that information that we have, every bit of information we have from that pre. So you don't really have to type anything in here. You just have to select search, and it will bring back each of these potential customers that we have in the system that might be what you're talking about. I just did a fun example here. It said, this time Robert Smith typed this in. They have a birth date, 5/19/1985. They have an email address and a zip code, and we found a Bob Smith with the same birth date. There's a very good chance that the system will probably say that could be the person you're talking about. Now, just like today, if you view that, you get that quick view. I'll show you what that comes up that shows you all the data that we have that would help you decide if that was the right customer. And then if you say, oh, it is the right customer, you could hit this merge, and it would take you to the merge page. Merge page basically does exactly what you would think it would do, which is the merge page will show you all the data that we have. Of course, that initial data that we can pick up in the identification of the person, and then start showing you all that questions that they've answered throughout that. Okay. And what it does is you'll see there's a radio button. Okay. And what it does on that radio button is it says these will be the current customer radio buttons will be selected by default, but you can say, no, I want Robert. That's a better name that we should have than Bob. Middle initial doesn't matter because we don't have it in either case. Smith, we'll just leave it because it's the same. Date of birth, we'll leave it, it's the same. Oh, you know what? I have a new phone number. I probably want that, right? Because this was 5 years ago. This was 5 months ago. I don't know, but I want to take this number, email. I'm going to take this email address. Obviously, just use this. And obviously, we know this is verified because they went through that link to get to this place. And then zip code's the same, doesn't matter. So that's the concept. You pick what matters in the new, you merge those records together, and you get a merged result. And then you just save that. And now you've merged and not duplicated that customer. Okay. So that's like basically all there is to this. Questions. We got about 5 minutes worth of questions we could have. You like this, Rory? Looks like you like this. Any questions? Does everybody understand this? This is going to be available on a new tab. for those of you who have a role of doing that. You might put that role only for a few people. I don't know. Depends on how your office runs. But this concept will be available to try to merge customers together.
Hey, Al, I think this is a great concept as well, and I like being able to have the control to do it rather than having to ask somebody all the time to merge people. But
Right.
how many of them can you find potentially to merge together? Like, is there just like one?
So it was only merging one with the one you have. Okay.
Okay.
This wasn't a like,
And
yeah,
the reason why I
wasn't,
bring that up is because
that's an interesting idea.
yeah, because we have had situations where we found like 2 or 3 duplicates of the same person over time and had to, request obviously that they all be merged together. So I was just wondering if there's more than one, or how would you handle that if you find in your list that you search that there's more than one down there?
My quick reaction would be check boxes here. This is my quick reaction. Okay. And say, you know what? Check these 3. I'm going to merge, or these 2, and I'm going to merge with that 1 and hit the merge. And if we did that, you would have to have, however many you would have to have one of these row columns. You know what I'm saying? It might get kind of tough because that's it might be better to merge 2 together and then come back and merge 2 together than to have a lot of data here.
Right. Yeah, no,
Al,
I agree.
I put in the chat, like what you're kind of going over is more focused on getting these pre-records
Yes.
put into a record. And upon doing that, you might find that there's an existing record and it needs merged. But we can build on this concept for a larger merging process
Yes.
that would maybe take place on like a management screen outside of just the pre-record piece, but merging more full records like you're talking about, Crystal. Like a very similar concept, but expanding on this in a more appropriate place. And you might even have fewer people who have that capability than those dealing with pre-records and intake, trying to come in for appointments and stuff.
That's a very good point. We wouldn't want to bog this process down with what you're talking about, but that is merging customers is something we have on the list. I don't know if it's going to make MVP, but it was on the list early on, and we've got it down low prioritized. But with this capability, if we don't put it in MVP, we can roll that in another area very quickly because we would have all the components really to do that. So
so pre-intake records. This is pre-record intake. This is like for individuals maybe that have done the pre-screening, the job seekers maybe that have done the pre-screening form themselves that are in the system, and now we want to maybe say, hey, let's add this customer like sort of officially, like let's start an intake. Which record do I use if the customer maybe has more than one? So these aren't like records where they're like we currently have like in the system.
No, it could be, Roy, it could be. Okay, so the pre-record part is a self-service part that they've started through the new self-service capability. That's the pre-record data part. But
Right. Okay.
but it could be that they're here 90 days. Let's just say 91 days for now. But if you wanted to know the truth, they could be here 45 days after they went through the program. Right now, we know 45 days after going through the program, they're not eligible to go through programming. I think that's the thing. It's supposed to be 90 days, but we've collected, they could come here and we could collect, they could start putting in data, and we have to determine if that data they're putting in is a customer that we have in the system. Okay. It could have been them. It could have been just in the last 20 days, we brought them in, and then they could have used a different ID. It's very possible. Many people, this is another situation. Many people have multiple email addresses, right? They could enter the exact same information, but didn't realize the first time they started this, they used a different email address, right? So now when they go back through, we take them to this record instead of the other record because we don't know if it's the same exact person through that email and verification. So we let a user with eyes on it say, oh, they started this twice with 2 different emails. Or the other situation I was talking about, whereas they've been through the program and it's after 90 days and they're like, wow, this job stinks. What was I thinking? I don't know. I think that's possible, right? And then they come back in and say, I'm going to go back online and see if I can, or maybe they went through the program, exhausted their training, whatever it is. I don't know. They didn't get where they needed to be, and they decided to go back in and start filling out the self-service stuff. But this is all about taking the data we collect from that self-service and making sure that we don't already have that customer in the system. Does that make more sense for you?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Okay.
I was
Okay.
just kind of piggybacking sort of like on what Crystal was saying. It's like, oh yeah, that'd be cool if there's a way to get rid of
Yeah.
all these old records that or not get rid of, but like to merge them so you're not like retyping everything. You know, you can use existing and say, oh well, this field was updated. They have a new email address, or they got married, changed their name. So okay, I'm going to pick this. So I like that. Yeah, that concept of being able to merge. I just wasn't sure like what.
Yeah, that's what, yeah, you got
what
it.
we were
And,
merging.
and well, alls I was saying is, and Olivia was saying, hey, yes, that's a great thing that we could have. We don't know if it's going to make MVP, but we hope. And for you to be able to use something like this and piggyback on this, for you to be able to merge multiple customers together. We'll figure that one out too, but it should not be hard for us to piggyback off these components to build that also. And like Olivia said, it might be a different role that does that. You might just have, one person or 2 people in an LWIA that manage that merging process for 2 customers that exist in a system or 3 customers that exist in a system. Okay? All right, I am going to stop there. Later on, probably, in a month, you'll be able to play around with this, but I'll stop there. And I'll dig in, Laura and Mark, anybody, Paul, anybody that's on here from a state level. I'll finish that this afternoon. I promise. I finally got time, and the UAT notes, and we'll be able to talk about anything that I have questions on next Tuesday. I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Al. Great day today.